Oh my goodness, guys. I'm so sorry it's been 2 months. I decided to homeschool my kids this year kind of on a whim, and that really took up a lot of my time. So I am back at it. This camper is actually totally finished now, and I'm just like backlogging this footage. So just bear with me. So I am actually going to be working on the shower today. So I'm basically building the new base for this shower, and I'm kind of building it off of the original base. This is me. I just measured the bottom and cut out a piece. And I'm just using OSB because that's pretty standard in campers. This is actually the old base from the corner shower, and I'm taking these blocks off of it because I already know that it's going to be the perfect height. So I'm just going to reuse these because they're fine, so there's no reason for me not to. So there's really no rocket science involved in making a base for a shower. It's basically just getting the old blocks and gluing and stapling it to the new piece. So when I make new bases, I start around the edges because I know that I'm going to need to end up putting more support in the back, and I'm eventually going to have to kind of use my jigsaw to cut out a hole for the drain. I don't exactly know where that's going to be yet because I'm going to be installing the drain in this video too. So just to kind of test it out, I'm just putting a couple blocks in. That way I can measure everything correctly and make sure that I'm not going to be putting a block directly in where my drain is going to be. So now that I've got a couple of blocks on there, I'm going to get my shower pan right here and kind of line it up to where I want it. It doesn't fit exactly the full length of the shower, and that's on purpose just to give me room for all of the drain lines and water lines. And so I'm kind of just centering it pretty good and then drawing a hole where the drain is. And then I'm getting my old piece of OSB, the old template, and just kind of cutting out where that square was because I figured the plumbing would probably be in a very similar spot. So then I could just go ahead and cut it out with my jigsaw, and I'll have a nice, pretty big open spot to where I can fit my drain in inside the camper. Now I kind of just set this base and shower pan in to kind of measure how much space there is in this wall. So this, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was actually a corner shower, and I'm converting it to basically a full size, the biggest shower you can have in an RV because there's the space, so why not? I already moved the skylight, so I figured I might as well. Let's make it big. Why not? But the problem is they don't make. I think this is like 46 inches or something. They don't make a shower pan that size, and I wasn't fixing to order one, so I actually needed some space right here where I could hide the water lines anyway. So I'm going to make another little false wall. It's only going to be like, I think it's maybe 3 or 4 inches. Basically the total width of it. And that'll give me the correct amount of space, and it will also give me some room to hide those water lines behind it. So right now I'm just cutting out some 2x4s. This is going to be the frame to the wall that I'm going to make and build right there. This will also be the supports for the shower, all of the diverters and fun stuff like that I'm going to put in. Typically RVs don't have showers like houses do, but I've never put one in that has a diverter where it's got like a handle. It's always like the knobs in the shower, if you know what I mean. And that kind of drives me nuts. So we're going to make this one fancy because why not? I mean, I'm already this far in. We might as well just make it how I think somebody else would like it. So because this was a corner shower, obviously the water lines are built for a corner shower. So I'm going to go ahead and redo those before I get any farther. And you see I have the diverter right there for the shower, and I'm kind of just making sure that I'm going to put it in the right spot. I put a towel there in case it leaks, but there's pretty much no water in these lines anyway. If you don't know how to redo water lines, I do have a video on my channel about how to do that. Basically, I'm just cutting these and plugging them because that seems like the easiest thing. There's no way I'm going to be able to just redo all of them, and I don't know, a plug works just fine. So I put the plug there, and then I'm going to move it over kind of closer to the middle of the wall right there, and I'll just cut a new spot and then put a T. on the hot and on the cold side. That way I can run those lines all the way up that side of the wall. So there's nothing really too crazy about redoing these water lines. I know it seems complicated, but the main thing is you need to have the right tools. You'll obviously need a PEX cutter and a crimp tool, and you can buy those on Amazon. I've got those on my Amazon storefront. That's where I bought this PEX cutter, and I really like it because it can crimp and cut at the same time, which a lot of the ones don't do that. They're kind of expensive, but this one was only like 20 bucks, and I really like it. Okay, so time to put the two main water lines in, and like I said, nothing crazy for this. So I put a T in right here, so I'm just putting that hot water line into the T and crimping it in, and then I'll do the same thing for the cold line. The only thing with this is I did measure to make sure that this is going to be tall enough. I actually made it a little bit taller than I needed. That way when I put the shower diverter in, I can measure exactly what height I need those water lines to be at. So bear with me here. I put this shower pan against something straight. That way I can measure the exact dimensions on where the hole was from the outside of the shower, because it was kind of hard to measure. It dips in the inside, and I needed to know the exact measurement because I need to know how far away from those two sides of the wall I need to put my drain. So I tried it a couple different ways, and it ended up working the best way when I put it up against something flat and then measured from the wall over to the drain. So I mean, if you guys are doing that, I would recommend that, because I've tried it lots of other ways and it didn't work out for me. All right, so right here, I am just squaring up these plumbing lines. I didn't really do a good job cutting them square when I originally took it out, because if you remember correctly, the floor was like super rotten and I was too busy trying not to fall through than get it straight. I figured that was something I could do later. So I'm just using a handsaw. I don't like using an electric saw for this, or my multi-tool, because the blade goes too fast and it melts the plastic. So handsaw is the way to go. All right, so this is basically just an idea of how this plumbing's going to go. I know where my center of the hole is, and this is just me drawing out a giant square to make sure that my hole is going to be big enough for me to fit that P-trap in. So you do have to cut a hole in the floor for your P-trap, and this is just what I'm doing. It's super common in RVs to have the P-trap lower than the subfloor. I've seen it in every camper I've ever worked on. So for those of you who are like, oh, you're cutting a hole in the floor, it's normal. It's fine. I obviously was not going to raise all of the plumbing just for that one P-trap. That seemed ridiculous. So I'm just using my multi-tool, cutting out a giant square. I made it just a little bit bigger than what I thought I needed in case my measurements were slightly off, which they were not. Pat on the back for me, because I have never installed a drain from scratch like this before. So look how nice that hole is. Yay. And then just a little test bit to make sure that that is exactly where I want my plumbing. I did end up putting the shower in. I know that's not square. Don't worry about it. And making sure that it's all lined up. And you kind of can't see that, but it lined up absolutely perfect. So I was kind of proud of myself for that. A little pat on the back. Okay. So now that I know it fits, I can go ahead and start putting the pieces together. This is just purple primer, and then you have just the PVC adhesive for plumbing. This comes in a 2-pack at Lowe's or Home Depot, wherever. I do like using the primer. I know there's people who will say, oh, use the primer, but whatever. I like primer. It's fine. It comes in a 2-pack, guys. Don't be ridiculous. So I didn't speed this part up as much as I normally would, because I wasn't sure if there was anybody out there who wanted to see exactly what pieces I put together. Basically, that's I think that's like a 45 elbow, and those black pieces are actually the original pieces. So I really just put that elbow in because I needed it to be moved out a little bit. So I shortened that long black part that you see right there to make it fit in the right spot, if that makes any sense. I used the same P-trap. I did buy a new one, but I ended up just using the other one because it fit perfect. And then I put some blocks under it just to support the plumbing a little bit, and I did end up screwing those down to the ground, and just to fill in this little hole in case something decides it wants to get in, bugs or whatever. Just I put some spray foam in there just to kind of cover up the hole and keep anything in or anything out. So I just thought that was a good idea, so that's what I did. All right, so now we got the plumbing and the water lines in. I'm going to go ahead and build this little wall. These are those pieces that I cut out earlier. So nothing crazy fancy here, just going to be building a giant rectangle with some supports in it. This is just, I think I cut it 1.5 by 1.5, pretty standard. And then I am marking where I want all of my cross pieces to go. That way, just use your square and run it across like I've done every other time I've ever framed anything. That way they're in the exact same spot on both pieces of wood. And so then I just put it down on the floor. I don't know why I like working on the floor. Y'all always are like, oh, your knees. Well, it's fine. I'm still young. It's fine. I'm eventually going to get knee pads, okay? And then I screw everything in. And again, I like these little braces that I got. These are just like corner braces. I actually got them at like a yard sale for like $1 or something for like a 6 or 8 pack of them. They're like super old, but I just really like them because they work really well for these like big framing pieces that can hold everything together for me. So I put those in and obviously just put some screws, pilot holes, screws, just like any other piece that I've ever framed. Okay, fast forward a little bit, you can see that I added 2 more support pieces here. One of these is going to be for the diverter, just something for me to attach the diverter to. And then the other one at the top is for the spout that comes out of the shower, because I also needed something to support the spout for the shower. So just screw all that in like normal. And then I'm coming back to this shower support. Now that I know exactly where my drain holes are, I'm going to add a few extra blocks around the drain part because there wasn't really a whole lot other than those 4 on the corner. And it's always a good idea to just put a bunch in there because the more you have, the sturdier it's going to be. So just add a few more in. I did end up cutting some more pieces because I used a few. And then I went and put this lovely framing piece in and I got it all the way in and I was like, something doesn't feel right here. And I forgot that there was water lines on that back wall. So I had to take it back out and then saw a piece of the corner off, but it's fine. It ended up working out great because I ended up reusing those 2 pieces and just kind of flipped them the other way. And it ended up being a perfect little notch out for the water lines in the back because obviously you can't sit water lines and this flush, and it's just one thing that I didn't think about before I put it in there, but that's okay because everybody makes mistakes. Y'all just remember that. Oh, and there's my kids riding on the golf cart and my husband. There they are. All right, round 2, and I put it in and it actually fits perfectly this time. So then I'm just going to scooch it in and start screwing it to the wall, and I can already see that it fits great right up against that shower pan like I want it to. So I ended up getting some little small blocks and kind of just wedging it in between the wall and the framing piece just to get a little support. I did screw it to the wall. Oh, there's my 4-year-old. I did screw it to the wall and to the ceiling just to secure it a little extra because this will be holding the weight of basically the entire shower for that side. So all of the fixtures and the vinyl tiles that I'm going to put in. So it's going to be a pretty structural wall. Okay, now all of that is screwed in. I'm going to go ahead and work on the shower diverter. I needed something to screw the diverter onto, and so I just got this piece of scrap wood and screwed it directly into the wall because I wanted to raise the diverter. I wanted to bring it out a little bit, and the hardware to mount it wasn't on the bottom. It was like on the back of it. So I couldn't like put it flat on the piece that I had already made. So that's basically my little diverter right there. I made sure it was in the right spot. I centered it and then I just screwed it to that back piece of wood. And after that, you'll see those water lines. I made them a little bit longer. And so I screwed my fittings in. It's not like a 90-degree, water fitting that I screwed in there a 1/2 inch just the normal water lines for campers. And then I marked it and I popped it in, and then I actually unscrewed it and brought it back out because there's no way that I could get my crimpers on in that little tiny space. Crimped it and then did the same thing for that side, except for I kind of just popped it out the front. That seemed a lot easier. So this pretty much marks the halfway point in the shower. I've got a lot of footage to go through for you guys. I'm going to try to do one a day, and they'll hopefully be about 15 minutes each. But this camper's done. Like I said, it's ready to go. So y'all just stay tuned because I got lots more videos coming. Have a good afternoon.